Hi, church family. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We're going to talk about Genesis, verse 0. What I said to you was Genesis 1:1. And people have a hard time grasping the fact that someone could have always been. We can understand the concept of always being because we want to always be. If possible. That's what we would want. And so let's talk about that for a minute. How could God have always been? How could that be? Well, we don't know. We don't understand that concept. That's because we are not trapped. We exist in a time-space continuum, right? And everything we know happens within that time-space continuum. And there is no other alternative. That's how we think. That's how we're built to think. That's what it is. So in the beginning, time, God created the heavens, space, and the earth, matter. But stuff went on long before that, and long before that, and long before that, long before that, and there was no beginning for God. God always existed. So I can't even remember where I read this, but I'm going to read this to you, and I love this. I'm going to call this Genesis chapter 1, verse 0. Here we go. Before the beginning, there was God. God did not begin when the beginning began. God began the beginning. The beginning came out of God, who had no beginning. You can rewind this and listen to that again. The point being is it does clarify verse 1 of Genesis. God had to be outside. If this is the time-space continuum, God had to be outside of this, outside of our known universe in order to create it. Look at me here. I have to be bigger than this, and I am outside of this, right? And God is outside of this, and he has always been in three persons, forever and always. So the beginning is easy to understand if we grasp the fact that God created the beginning just for us. We need to occupy time, space, and matter because we're really here, right? And again, this needs to be here now. It needs to be made of something, and it needs space to exist in. So it needs all three of those properties in order for it to exist. God is outside of this, and God is spirit. And God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit exist as spirits. Jesus Christ has been known to be able to appear as Jesus in physical form because he's God, and he can do that. For example, zoology, I admit, but when in Genesis, when God communed in the garden on walks with Adam and Eve, I believe that was Jesus who appeared and walked with them and communed with them. You can argue with me if you want, but I think it's a pretty reasonable assumption. And it's zoology, so I'm not going to stake anybody's salvation on it. So nothing's at risk, just making a point for this devotional. So as big as the universe is, God has to be much bigger than that. Much, much bigger than that. Our tiny universe, big God, right? And all this time we're experiencing in infinity, in God's world, as we could call it, where there is no time, space, and matter, this entire time of our universe from beginning to end, in his terms, could be less than the blink of an eye. Think about it. It's pretty wild, isn't it? But again, I think it's so. I think that when we get up to heaven, people won't have been antagonizing, waiting over us. I think that this time we have here, up there, goes by, bam. I wonder all kinds of things about this discussion. Okay, if I meet with you in heaven, what am I going to say? Meet me at the Starbucks at 5:30? Well, there is no time and there's no Starbucks. So if I bump into you in heaven, how do I bump into you again? The joology I have is I want to see you, so boom, here I am. I show up wherever you are. But and I love those kinds of speculations, but they're just harmless speculations. The point of this video is to clearly emphasize that God existed for a length of time that is not time. He's just always been. There is no way to even describe what that means, because we just can't wrap our heads around it. But I love it. And if I dropped you. If I may, come on, sit. I would like to read this Bible verse to you, that my made-up Bible verse to you again, because I think it's fantastic. And here we go. Just a second here. So this is Genesis verse 0. Before the beginning, there was God. God did not begin when the beginning began. God began the beginning. The beginning came out of God, who had no beginning. I love that. And I'm going to leave you with that idea. I love you, church. Bye.